Chapter 3, the preschool years. What are the preschool years? Well, we generally think it's about 2.5 to 5. So what's happening during these years? We've talked about this. They're developing their language abilities. They're doing all kinds of new sounds. Their receptive and expressive vocabulary are growing. Their understanding of grammar is growing. You're hearing speech errors. Symbolic and dramatic play is increasing. They're attempting through speech to make sense of experiences. They're having problems with verbs. Okay. Lots of stuff. Question asking, lots and lots of question asking, running commentaries and self-talk. You see a lot of this in preschool, and lack of speech clarity. So you hear this because you get to be a certain age, and you notice that some kids speak very clearly and have no issues, and then there are kids that have all kinds of issues. And this is when it's important for us to find to alert parents and to help find interventions. So, what are families and care providers supposed to be doing at this time? Expecting that speech is going to be a little wonky, like it's not all going to be perfect all the time. They're still figuring things out. You should always be accepting of children's efforts. And again, search for the meaning of things that they're trying to say to you, because they're still experimenting in a way. You're still naming objects and actions. You should be telling about what you're doing all the time, helping them understand how things fit together, checking for hearing loss, introducing appropriate books. Older preschoolers, they're putting together more words in sentences. They're using verbs correctly now. So instead of saying like I run to the playground, I ran to the playground, right? They're changing the way they ask questions. They're sounding more like grown-ups, right? They're kind of getting it. And you can have a conversation, like an actual conversation at this point. So that's important, because this is helping them develop relationships with other people, right? Playing with groups. They're still doing narration of what they're doing, but they're listening in their heads now. They're not saying it out loud to themselves. It's just more. It's more, and it's broader, and it's more distinctive. They have more words. They can do more stuff. They're being more creative, right? And also, there's a wide range of differences that are considered normal or typical at this point, because some children, it takes a little bit longer to catch up. So, okay, younger preschoolers, ages 2 of 3, they are talking about what they're doing, right? And they are also communicating through actions, because they don't necessarily have the words, right? So they're pointing at things. They're just moving around and doing things to tell you what's going on. They're acquiring 6 to 10 new words each day. They are acquiring more grammatical forms. So they're adding more rules to the way that they use their language. They're making weird mistakes, but that's okay. And they have brief conversational exchanges. You're not going to be able to sit down necessarily with a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old and have them have a conversation where you go back and forth and you talk about the state of the world or whatever, but you can have short ones with them. Their receptive vocabulary. Receptive vocabulary is the words that you can hear and understand. Expressive vocabulary are the words that you can say and you use, right? So receptive vocabulary is what you hear and understand. Expressive vocabulary is what you say and what you use. They are still continuing to figure out how plurals and past tenses and all of those parts of speech work. And they're formulating those rules, okay? So what happens is, like I said, you say things like runned instead of ran, or comed instead of came, or drinked, right? Um, and so at first you're using I run to the playground, and then I run to the playground, and then I ran to the playground, right? So that's how that works. Um, and then questions focus on why, how, and when, probes for purposes and intentions. So, what, why, how, right? All of those questions that people ask all the time when they're little. Okay, so then overextension means when you take something that you understand and you overextend that understanding to something else. So you might, the example here is a dog and a goat. Let's say a dog and a goat could be about the same size. So you see, oh, there's a dog, and you say, oh, look at the dog and the goat. Another dog. That's not a dog, that's a goat. And so you understand, oh, that's a goat. A goat has horns. A goat is a little different from a dog. A goat says ba. So now I know next time I see something that's that size that has horns, it's a goat, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's, something else. So you're taking what you know about something and you're extending it to other things as well. Running commentaries is, right, just narrating what you're doing. And it's important. And if kids are doing it, it's important. Repetition is always important. Reading the same books, watching the same movies, saying the same things, singing the same songs. That's what helps you absorb all of that. Consonant blends are not mastered until age 7. Not specifically age 7, like on your 7th birthday, you'll be able to say shh, but it takes some time to get some of those consonant blends organized in your brain. So that's one of the last sort of speechy things that happens. When you are a younger child, your phonological system is present, so you know all those little sounds, but you're not totally accurate. Okay. You're using longer sentences, more word endings, verb tenses. We talked about better use of negatives, question format, speech like adults. This is in preschoolers, okay? Social speech starts in older preschoolers. So you're this, and as you will remember, this is pragmatics, eye contact, right? Speaking, pausing and listening, maintaining attention, turn taking. And you'll see that this is really an important step in the process of language development. Increased language increases social interchange in play, right? Because if you can talk to someone, you can tell them what you want to do next, or what you're thinking, or what you saw. Children can take on different roles. Children can talk in character. Development of inner speech makes planning possible when you're thinking it through to yourself. You think about and you're speaking it through to yourself, then you can tell everyone outside of you what's going on. Common speech patterns. Preschoolers love rhymes. Reading poetry to kids is really important. And there's a lot of great kids' poetry out there. And then, of course, there are tons and tons of rhyming books. In the 3 to 5-year-old range, you may have a vocabulary of up to 1,500 words, but you may still stutter and not quite get the right words, and that's okay. You are starting at this point to understand language as a concept, right? So it's outside of you at this point, because this is a point in your development as a person when you understand that there are things that the world does not revolve around you. So you understand that language is a concept, that words are things, that it's not just talking, that there are words. And this is a good time to do those rhyming things and punny things and sound things so that kids understand the differences between words and how it all works. This is important for learning to read, wordplay. Okay, 4-year-old brain growth. Your brain is between 4 and 12, seeking information from your senses. You have unlimited room for memories, and connections are not reinforced, that are not reinforced by stimuli disappear. So if you don't have those opportunities and experiences to talk with people, then your brain connections will disappear. Okay. There's a famous case of a girl, excuse me, who was isolated and not spoken to for the first, I don't even know how many years of her life, like 12 or 13. And eventually she was found, and she never was able to develop any speech ability beyond about 5 years old. And it was because her brain, your brain is set up to absorb all this information and to make new connections and to get rid of or prune old connections. And she didn't have the experiences that she needed to make those new connections. And when she got to the age that she was when she was found, like 13 or whatever, her brain couldn't make the connections anymore. As a result, researchers recommend emphasizing language, music, math, and problem solving in early childhood. Language, music, problem solving, math, obviously. Math in early childhood is very different from, 1 + 1 = 2 or division and subtraction. It's much more hands-on. And we'll talk about that in 218, I think it is, math and science, if you're taking that. So there you go. That's a little bit about preschool and language development.